Puff out of Brownstone, I accept on 35th Road in Mace, was remaining there, and I went to utilize a restroom, and it was a dildo on the restroom sink a little story, not too far off. I couldn't actually let you know the number of various times that happens. I say, yo, what are you getting this for? And it said butt fittings, and leave it like yo might I at any point do my shopping without anyone else. I said definitely we're sending you over to something many refer to as Puffy Flavor Camp. There you go to learn something, better believe it. That is what it was called, and you will go to Puff Daddy's. He's getting during the 90s. Do you comprehend what that resembles, knowing Chris Earthy-Colored's terrible kid history? You presumably believe he's seen it everything except the tea he hosts spilled about Diddy's after gatherings. Will make your heart skirt a thump. Prepare yourselves, since this elite hoedown isn't for the cowardly. R&B star Chris is lifting the cover on these unbelievable stories. And let me let you know things can get out and out odd. It's a well-known fact that Diddy has a weakness for his male colleagues, and Chris is here to validate every one of your premonitions. Plan to have your psyche blown as Chris doles out wild and crazy insights regarding these gatherings that will leave you wheezing. For all the more so, lock in, my companions, since we're going to take a wild and extraordinary excursion into the enrapturing universe of Diddy's notorious soirees. Did you late evenings To anybody that has significant insight into the music business, you've likely known about Chris Earthy-Colored's ventures, and how he's had his reasonable part of close experiences with rappers and makers. And let me let you know things got a little hot. Yet here's the juiciest piece. These apparently straight influential men have a skill for getting dependent upon a few pretty wild and courageous jokes in secret. Chris ain't keeping down, and he's prepared to spill every one of the shameful subtleties. Prepare to have your jaw drop as Chris discloses the surreptitious universe of these strong men, taking part in unforeseen and very mischievous adventures. Diddy has an expert fortune that must be depicted as crazy. And you understand what this incredible music magnate loves to go overboard on. Gracious. Simply his psyche blowingly excessive. And out freaky gatherings. We're discussing million-dollar stories. Here people where severe clothing standards are implemented. And the list of people to attend can arrive at cosmic numbers, outperforming 1,000 wild partiers. Yet hang on close on the grounds that, as per, in all honesty, Sneak Homie Diddy's gatherings are famous for their wild and luxurious nature. Picture this: an unending progression of beverages and substances that can blow your mind. It's an obvious fact that Diddy involves these get-togethers as a jungle gym to experience his most out-of-control sexual dreams. And he's not precisely cautious about it either. Now, we should not disregard the way that Diddy's gatherings are covered in selectiveness and complexity. Just depict. Not many are sufficiently lucky to get a solicitation to these clandestine issues. Yet here's the trick: at what cost does this eliteness come? Envision the distress and disquiet that might emerge for those participants who find themselves reluctant members in Diddy's distinctive sexual dreams. It's an existence where limits obscure, and the line among delight and uneasiness turns out to be hazardously slim. Now, people, we as a whole realize that Diddy is no more bizarre to the domain of unusualness. Truth be told, he wears it glad strangely like a crown on his head, in spite of his status as one of the business' greatest forces to be reckoned with. Diddy can't muster enough willpower to care about staying quiet about his sexual adventures. Good gracious, my companions, he enjoys facilitating these marvelous spectacles that reclassify the importance of the word wild. Even specialists who are familiar with scouring elbows at the best in celebrity-loaded parties are left stunned the second they set foot in one of Diddy's amazing soirees. Ask Chris Earthy-Colored, who was left completely floored when he strolled into one of Diddy's get-togethers, understanding that he had ventured into a domain dissimilar to anything he had at any point seen. Assuming you esteem your straightness and hold your marriage consecrated, my companion, looking for counsel from Diddy probably won't be the smartest decision. You see, regardless of being a dad, And being in a serious relationship, Diddy keeps on tossing these secretive gatherings that appear to act as a sanctuary for those furtively looking for same-sex experiences. Don't carelessly trust me stand by listening to what Usher needed to say regarding Diddy's tricks subsequent to putting in a couple of years in his internal circle. Now the way that Diddy transparently has gay gatherings could come as a shock to some, yet his unusual and shameful sexual ventures have never been a very remarkable mystery. It's been imbued in our recollections as far back as we can recollect. Diddy has no misgivings about hitting on male rappers left, right, and center. No rapper is protected from Diddy's advances. Out of nowhere you would feel that person of his height would be more prudent about such matters, yet not Diddy. He won't hesitate to go all out at any individual who grabs his attention, and one person who had direct insight of this was, as a matter of fact, 50 Penny. He said he expressed something to me one time, quite some time in the past. He advised me to take me shopping. I saw him like, what did you say? Picture this: my companion's 50 Penny reviews a second when Diddy asked him out and proposed to take him shopping. Currently, we should be genuine here. That is an unconventional comment to another straight man, isn't it? 50 Penny knew at that moment that Diddy's guiltless shopping trip offer had a more profound, more private expectation behind it. As a matter of fact, he's reasoning of a few different blessings. 50 Penny didn't see the value in Diddy's way of behaving by any means, and let him in on that something a person shares with a young lady. 50 made sense of Puffy has some cushy stuff. Continuing, yet Diddy was unflinching by this claim. He had a fairly sprightly response to it, which truly makes one think Diddy truly has no feeling of dread toward the public. Knowing his activities, he answered 50 Pennies, saying, I don't for even a moment consider no other man. On the off chance that I'm thinking about another man, I'm thinking about elevating great Diddy. We'll hit you up on that one. Wasn't exactly persuading. If you were to ask me, he once unintentionally owned up to laying down with Usher in a similar bed when Usher was only a tad kid. We used to awaken. And I mean Dan delay, yet like there's an I mean once upon a time when he was like 10. And I was somewhat more seasoned, his more established sibling. We used to battle about the over-the-ice chips. The fellows continue to deteriorate, as these disclosures are so off base on many levels. Is Diddy additionally a pedophile? That is what his admission is by all accounts indicating. Usher additionally concedes that he could never send his children to a spot like Diddy's 14 years of age. You're a father presently. Would you at any point send your child to Puffy camp? Even his guardian couldn't keep his lips fixed. Let the cat out of the bag on Diddy's daring endeavors in the domain of sexual adventures. Prepare yourselves, since we're discussing some truly exploratory region here. Did you get that notice of butt plugs? Gracious. Yes, those little friends that find their direction into social scenes like clubs and gatherings. It appears to be that each admission, whether unplanned or purposeful, spins around Diddy's fondness for same-sex experiences, connecting him to gay clubs and gatherings, an opinion reverberated by, in all honesty, Chris Brown. And we should not neglect Diddy's great history of inappropriate way of behaving, which without a doubt assumes a part in how his kindred male rappers see him. And let me let you know, it's not precisely with deference or warm respects. In one riveting meeting, Diddy wound up bothering poor Spectacular, constantly encouraging him to jump into his party undertakings. The inconvenience emanated from Fantastic driving him to the edge of anxiety. All through the following meeting, breathtaking, remained apparently uncomfortable, scarcely articulating a reaction. Maybe the unfortunate person wished the ground would gulp down him. Visually connecting with Diddy appeared to be an unrealistic for him, all things considered. The simple thought of going with Diddy to a gay party sent poor Fab into a condition of free for all. This thusly reinforces our conviction that Chris Brown is perfect with his suspicions about Diddy's contribution in these charming gay soirees. The bits of the riddle appear to be making sense, don't they? Yet what provoked Chris to at last stand up and end his quiet? Well, It appears to be that Chris has been in major trouble for a long while now, confronting examination for his philosophies that don't line up with the liberal outlook. The crowd sees Chris Brown as homophobic, inferable from a portion of his past comments about gay people. I surmise there was that one event when he coincidentally let slip all in all too much about his viewpoints with regards to this issue, uncovering his hidden disquiet with even the smallest traces of homosexuality. Apparently, Chris has been straightforwardly disrupted by unobtrusive signals of same-sex fascination, which has energized the fire of hypothesis. Well, a remark from rapper Raz previously of the gathering B2K sent Brown into a protective fury, making him release a progression of unsportsmanlike tweets about gay people and survivors of attack. That is the point at which he wasn't in the middle of tossing around the N-word or embedding his foot immovably in his mouth. In 2010, they participated in a Twitter battle with greater homosexuality remarks, and Chris tossing his progress in Razby's face Razvian. A unique consideration he composed experienced childhood. In it, a dick into ass young man explained to me, "This why when the cash was coming in you weren't grumbling about getting butt," stopped homo hooligan Brown's racial and homophobic trim tweets. Alluded to Raz's past confirmation that he was once attacked by one more man method for behaving. Chris potentially understanding that he crossed a line, or more probable doing his bit to stop the surge of furious tweets coming about because of his discourteous message. Brown later conveyed a note, "I'm not homophobic, he's impolite. Raz, clearly differ, you are not homophobic." Or Joe's gay on the low, he composed proceeding to clear up earthy colored's allegations since you took.